Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another case study interview with Tushar Imdad and describing the VISTA Time Mastery Programme. With me today is Sister Amina from the UK, who has had an extraordinary time on the programme. I'm really excited. She's actually one of our 3-hour workday challenge winners. She was actually a dark horse. No one really expected her to win. She herself admitted, as we're going to describe, that she didn't think that she was going to be the winner. There was a lot of stiff competition, and yet she did win that. So we're going to be talking about how she managed to do that. But first and foremost, I'd like to welcome Sister Amina. Thank you for coming.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Jazakallah khair for inviting me.
Welcome, salam. It's an absolute pleasure. So, Sister Amina, if you could just start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what's your kind of family situation, and what your kind of job is and stuff. When you first came to me.
Yeah, I newly started working, as in I was self-employed before, and I turned that into a day job. I'm a mother of 4 children.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I do have long-term illnesses, which kind of like override everything else. But my coaching business is what I came to you with. For help on actually developing my coaching business. I was stuck in a really negative mindset.
Yeah.
I was kind of scared of failure, and I've kind of like realized that that's part of the process. And as time's progressed,
and it wasn't just that, was it? I remember, there were issues not just in your business, but it was affecting your deen, your work on your health, your time management in general. Can you just paint a picture of, like, the state you were in when you first came?
Yeah, I was stuck in such an overwhelm of everything that I wasn't spending that much time. It's like I was skipping from working in the day, coming home, doing my coaching business, working what I thought was productive, working on my coaching business, but I've learned across doing VISTA that it wasn't productive enough. And I wasn't getting the results I wanted to. In terms, it was affecting my extended family. It was affecting every aspect of my life, not just the work.
Got it. And I remember when we did your self ratings, in kind of Dean and in I think the coaching business, and I think in family, I think was the third area. No, it was health, wasn't it? We worked on health, Dean, and your coaching business. Like, you gave yourself like 2 out of 10. You're like kind of 20% on all of them, right? And then alhamdulillah, now, at the end of VISTA, I think you're on 6s and 7s, right?
Yeah, it's increased quite a lot. I've managed to work out my goals in each area. The mission statement that you helped us to do at the beginning just really put everything in line and just made me realize that it's not just about my work. It's not just about my children. There's so much more that I need to concentrate on.
Could you give us a picture? But I'm going to talk about the challenge in a minute. But could you give a snapshot? Like, I mean, we know now how you were, and I remember as well. You were overwhelmed. You were stressed. You weren't making enough money. You were off sick a lot. You were struggling to spend time with your family. Your deen was you're struggling on your deen. Different aspects of worship, which you weren't getting done. Right. So it was a really kind of tough state. Right. Can you now give a picture of what it's like now on the other side, right? So people can, and then we'll fill in the gaps of the how in a minute. So describe what it feels like now after learning the tools of productivity, learning some of the tools of high performance, of learning how to prioritize properly. Can you describe how you feel now at the end of it? Give us a contrast, help the listeners understand the difference after you go through a process like this.
I just feel so much more productive even if I have a little gap of 5 minutes, I'm always thinking, what can I do in that 5 minutes? How can I make it productive for myself, for my family, for the children? I know it's a lifelong journey, but I've come so far in the short space of time that I've been with you on this course. It's been amazing, because it's like, I didn't think that sitting here now looking at how much I've done in that time, I wouldn't have been able to do that without this, because I was literally, when you're stuck in that rut and you're not getting anything done, you're just stuck at that point. I'd say it was one of my lowest times, even, that I was just stuck, and I was like, I was so overwhelmed by the fact that I was ill. I'm still ill now, but it's just given me that positive mindset of, no, you can go through this, and I can build.
I definitely want to touch on that later. That even though you were ill, like, your circumstances outwardly were sometimes the same, but you still achieved so much. I mean, before we go into that, because that's going to be in the context of the 3-hour workday challenge, could you just share some of the milestones, like the fact that you've tripled basically your performance in Dean and in coaching and in health? Could you give us a list of some achievements in those 3 areas, which have, which you're really grateful to Allah to give you tawfiq to do? What are some of the things you've achieved which has allowed you to increase your self-ratings?
Yeah, my Qadar Salah is something I hadn't even, until me and you had our first coaching call, it hadn't even come in my mind, to be honest. I hadn't even thought about it. And it's something that when I got off that call, even though I hadn't started doing VISTA yet, I started doing my Qadar Salah. Wow. So that was an immediate action that I was
How many have you done since then, like in the last?
It's not been one of my I've not concentrated on it, but a couple of, I'd say I'm doing about 2 days a day now.
2 days a day. That's amazing. Yeah. You've gone from 0, so that's about 2 days a day is like 10 a day. Let's say 50 a week times 10 weeks. So you've basically done around 500 Qadar Salats since we've started.
Yeah.
So from 0 to, that's a 500% increase, mashallah. So that's amazing, mashallah. Really, that's an amazing achievement. Anything else on the
my Quran as well? I wasn't very until I got into the habits, the habits module you taught us. Now, mashallah, every day I'm reading Quran without fail. Now it's like at a specific time, at a specific, how you've taught us to do it, basically. And it's been so much easier to implement. I don't think the implementation of the habits is the hard bit. I think it's the actual carrying it out and making sure that they stick.
Yeah.
And that's what I found that this program really has helped us to do.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a lot of it's there with the it's a theory, the actual habit design. Most people don't understand how to do that, and it's brilliant that you learned that. What about the other areas? What are some of your milestones which you're proud of in health and in and your coaching business?
My health, I've managed to sort out my diet. I've managed to start walking again, which at one point I was completely bedridden, so that was a big deal.
I remember you telling me you did. What was it? You messaged me saying you did. Was it a few thousand steps a day? Was it?
Well, basically, I started off doing 100 and then 200, and then I doubled it every single day, basically, that 1 week. Awesome. At the end of it, I was doing 6,000 steps, which for a normal person, that's probably what everyone does. But for me, it's like I wasn't doing enough. And that's one thing that's carried on. Just looking after myself, going to appointments, actually looking for alternatives in my health. I wasn't looking into any of this, and I've started doing that. And
so much action, mashallah. And then in your coaching business, which again, I know we had a lot of conversations on that, trying to go through,
I had to re-establish how I was doing it, because you kind of made me realize that the business model I was using wasn't the correct business model to use, which I'm grateful for.
And you got your first paying client, right?
Yeah, for my coaching, because I was easily taking on clients who I was taking them on for free, which I've completely changed now, alhamdulillah.
No, and this is something which with my background, I'm not a business coach, but many people do come to me to help them with their businesses, especially coaching business, because they've seen my journey, my trajectory, and you've known me since I was a tutor. I even tutored your children, from the kind of background of being full-time teacher and transitioning to slowly starting business and doing that full time. And then I've invested in a lot of programs in the last few years, and so using that's why I'm able to help people who want to come on VISTA and also want specialist help on their coaching business. It's kind of like 2 in 1. You get a bit of business help as well as the productivity. So I'm really glad that worked for you. Let's talk about the 3-hour workday challenge, because this was amazing, right? So do you remember how? I mean, I want to hear it in your words. Do you remember?
I wasn't going to start. I wasn't going to do it. To be honest,
you weren't going to do it, right?
I wasn't going to do it. I was scared with the competition, because I was like, they have so many more skills than I do. They have so many, they've got professions which are so much, they're of high caliber, mashallah.
Yeah, you're up against people with, I think, 6-figure salaries, people who are, high-level accountants, high-level engineers, high-level entrepreneurs. It's true, on paper, if you're to compare the two, it was like you would expect them to win easily, right? And mashallah, you took the challenge. And for those listening, every few months we do a challenge in VISTA called the 3-hour workday challenge, where the purpose is to kind of save as many hours as possible in the week, and then to reinvest it in areas which link to your vision, things which your dreams, things which are important for your mission in life, right? And subhanAllah, even though you didn't save the most hours, there's some people who saved more than you, you still saved around 26 hours. And the reason why you won was that, and this is why we want to talk about the illness thing, you were actually ill that week, and yet you still achieved so much. So can you just summarize like that week in terms of, just tell us like what normally would you do when you were that ill, like and what did you manage to do instead?
I'd have had cups of tea, stayed in bed, and not done very much, basically. But
I
no,
think most of us would have done that, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think most of us would have done that, right? You know, you were a warrior that week, mashallah. So that's so was it that illness, were you bedridden? How ill were you?
I was bedridden at the beginning of it, but then I took that as, no, I'm not staying in bed. I'm going to work through this pain, because it's something that in my coaching business, I do coach other people about it, of going through that fear and going through that kind of, I can't do it, changing it to I can achieve this and I will achieve this.
Yes.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. And then just remind us of some of like I mean, the hours you saved. Can you just give us an example of a couple of ways you saved so much time?
The ways I saved time was like batching my housework together, my batch cooking. I delegated my cleaning jobs out to people. A lot of delegation as well. I also tried to I looked at my time tahara, and I was a bit scared of how much time I'd actually spent like taking kids to and from school. So I gave one of them a bus pass. I've since made it even better for myself in that now they all go themselves and they all come back themselves.
So through that time tahara, you were able to kind of identify these areas where time was being lost, and you managed to save,
and I didn't realize how much until that time.
SubhanAllah. So Aisha, one of the things Amina you've achieved is that you've been a brilliant student of the program, right? You've actually, you went through the modules, and you implemented, you did the 3-hour work the challenge. Like, one of the reasons why I know that you won, and is because you really implemented it. You actually, you went through the recordings, you understood the competition rules, and you really did demonstrate those savings. You really took action. So a lot of people who are worried about going on programs like this is that they've been on programs before, and they just they don't really get the juice out of the program. They just come and then they finish, and they don't, they got a lot of theory, but they didn't do much implementation. Could you describe how is it that, and you might have had those fears before you started. What was different about VISTA? How is it that you managed to get so much out of this program? And why is it different to, for example, so many programs we take and it just ends up on our computer filed away, and we never see it for years, right? How was it that you were able to kind of study so much? What do you think enabled you to be so motivated to kind of keep going through the modules and keep implementing it and really squeeze the juice out of the program, compared to so many people who go on courses and they don't really get much out of it? What do you think was different about VISTA which enabled you to get so much out of it?
Thing is, when I started it, I was on a lot of medication, which I normally am anyway, but I used to listen to the module again and again until I got it, which is one of the things that I did do. I also used to use any of my spare time, any time I found myself, okay, I'm not doing anything, let me listen to it, let me try and understand it. But I think with this, it was the fact that you could put the things into action, like Mubarak Morning. I've done little bits of it before, but I've never done it as a routine before.
So you love the different structures, the different systems, which you had these little knowledges before, you knew a bit, put it all together for you.
But when it brought it all together, it's like it just means that now I know that that's what I'm going to do in the morning, and I do it. It's like it's just put it into place, and I've attached it to other habits I've got, so I know that it gets done.
Brilliant. Love it. It's just wonderful. SubhanAllah, we could talk for so long, but I think inshallah, people who've been listening to this will already be amazed and astounded by your results and your achievements. And final question really is, when I first spoke to you, I mean, I would say I've spoken in the last year, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 3, 4 others. I'd say similar position to yourselves. and you were the only, most of them were too scared to start, right? And it was, and we know that when you get a strategy call and you're considering whether you want to go to Vista or not, and most people want to do it, most people realize, but it is a big investment and it can be scary doing that. And I know it was a struggle for you. It was something which you had to be creative and we had to work together to help you get started. But many people, they're too scared, they're put off, they've never invested in a coaching program before, and the fear of doing that, it puts them off. So could you describe like the fears you had before you started, because I know you had similar fears, and how you overcame them to get started?
I was worried about this whole idea of being in debt for doing something positive, which you helped me coach. You coached me through that. Also, it's like putting, if you think it's worth it for yourself, it's like I put that investment in myself at the end of the day, and I wasn't scared to do that because I'd already done it with my coaching, for the coaching business that I'm trying to establish.
Yes.
So it was just finding that extra cash. And I think once you put a program in place, you're going to find that money. You will find that money from somewhere.
And how does it feel now that you've, like, if you think about how you felt, the fear you had there, now that you've gone through it, how does it feel in terms of return of investment, or how much it was worth, now that you think about how much you paid and what you got out of it? How does it feel now?
I wouldn't have been able to achieve everything that I've achieved in the last couple of months if I hadn't done it, and I would still be stuck in that overwhelm of I've got so much to do and I can't do it. Now I know that I can do it, and I've got the tools to be able to manage my time in a much better way.
Brilliant. And what's your advice to people listening here, and they might be resonating with, there might be sisters or even brothers, and they're in a similar position to you, where they were maybe ill, maybe overwhelmed, maybe struggling with the business, and they're scared, right? Because they do want to change, but then whenever they come to a point and they've got a potential solution, like maybe it's going to be the VISTA Time Mastery Program for them, and there's that fear of investing in themselves, that fear of, can I do it? Am I going to be good enough, etc. What would be your advice to them in that moment?
I'd say don't worry about the results. Put that trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This has come your way for a reason. And that's the main thing that I realized was it couldn't have come at a better time for me, the time mastery.
I love that. That's quite a spiritual way to look at it. That if you are in this position, Allah sent you this opening, take the opportunity when Allah sends it.
Make istikhara and go for it and put the action there.
Fantastic. I'm so excited for you. And let's just finish on the future. What's your vision now for the future, in terms of what are the kind of things you're excited about, and what you're hoping to achieve, inshallah, in the next few months and years, inshallah?
I'm looking to get some business coaching with my business and turning my business into something that's, I don't want to be working in my day job. I just want to be doing my own coaching business. So I want to turn that into a profitable business. That's what I'm looking to do.
Fantastic.
And just turn my customer, like at the end of the day, I've got one client who's paying at the minute. I can turn that into 20 hopefully by the end of I'll give myself a year.
The hardest one was the first, and you've got over that, and now alhamdulillah, and you've got the skills and the skills and the mindset, inshallah, to take that forward. So proud of you, Amina. It's amazing what you've achieved. I can definitely say, hand on heart, you're one of one of my best clients I've had, and you're one of the only ones who did the 3-hour workday challenge twice. You took the second one by mistake, which was fantastic because it proved that even after a break, you're still able to do it again. So fantastic, well done, and may Allah bless your business and bless your family and allow you to continue to have tawfiq, give you complete shifa from all your illnesses. Thank you so much for sharing your time today, and we wish you all the best in your future.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.